Georgia's offense has used its tight ends in very unique ways so far this season to get an advantage over opposing defenses, and it could be the key for the Bulldogs offense in the playoffs. That's Brent Rollins. I'm Dayne Young. We're with UGAsports.com. Brent's also with Pro Football Focus. We want to show you how Georgia uses the tight ends in unique ways, especially Brock Bowers. But Brent, a guy like Darnell Washington, you just look at the mismatch physically. Teams like Alabama and then whoever else is on the schedule for Georgia as we get into January have to respect these guys.
Yeah, and when you think about what's unique in college football right now, and Ohio State with its trio of elite receivers, that's unique. Michigan with their just uber dominant two pass rushers, that's unique, and they obviously beat Ohio State using those two guys. But the thing that makes Georgia unique, outside of just the fact that they have 25 to 30 guys that can go and play at a very high level, outside of their insane high quality depth, the thing that makes Georgia unique, especially offensively, are these three tight ends. And Bowers now becomes the key. And I think when you look ahead, one, to this week against Alabama, and then two, moving forward, possibly into the playoffs, Bowers is the one big difference to me in this game versus something that they didn't have a year ago.
So we're going to show you 4 plays. We have 2 angles of the first 2 here of how Georgia uses tight ends recently. This is from the Georgia Tech game. Brent, confirm to me that you see Brock Bowers circled at the top of the screen, please.
He is circled and highlighted on that nice little tiny cornerback compared to what he looks like.
I asked for that confirmation simply because when I full screen, I don't get to see the software in the back end. So here we go. We'll play the play for you from both angles. You see where Brock Bowers is. Keep your eye on him, but then also keep your eye on Stetson Bennett's eyes. Here's the 2 plays. It's just a real quick decision. Lofted up. I know you don't like the end zone fade, Brent, but this matchup works well.
Well, what's interesting, you say that. I always say fade to fade, but he's different. He goes and gets it. Like to me, in terms of his ability to, one, just be an explosive athlete, but the hands too. He did it against Kentucky, like made a big time tough contested catch, much like that on the sort of the scoreboard side of the end zone that one time against Kentucky. We saw it, against in a couple weeks back where they just quick threw it to him and he stiff armed the guy into the ground. So things like that where you get him the ball in space, and if you get down close like this and you got a chance and you're in plus, down and distance situation, this is always to me going to be. I like this, especially when it's lined up on a corner that he's just going to be bigger than and out jump. And what's phenomenal about the play is not just as much the play itself, but the second angle, watching him catch it, you could see that. I think he takes a quick look down and gets the 1 foot down. Stetson does a good job of putting the ball high enough to where he can go get it, and only he can get it. And in this second one, the one from behind, you see it's catch down foot. Like, that's insane. We talked about how the Mackey Award kind of very much got it wrong with him, and we'll see some more of him from this game specifically. But, just impressive work from him there. And again, he's what now makes Georgia unique. Him alone in the combination of the 3.
I love that Stetson's eyes immediately go straight over here, and he's already looked pre-snap, so he knows, like you said, the matchup he has in terms of body size. At that point, the only thing he has to be sure of, and he can almost tell this through his peripheral, is this linebacker. Is he going to shade back immediately? And the second that he doesn't, it's go. Done.
Yeah. And it's good to see, and it's when you take advantage of just matchups. The game of football is matchups. It's creating those matchups. Now we
have 2 angles.
The biggest of all matchup.
Yeah, the biggest of from Nevada. Here's Darnell Washington. He's on the right side of the formation. We'll circle him in a second. We'll show you both angles of this. Darnell across the middle. It's important to get that release at the line of scrimmage because that can be difficult to not get swallowed up in some traffic here.
Yeah, and it's play action. They're sort of running the split zone where you see Brock Bowers coming, or I think it's Bowers that's coming across the line of scrimmage to the right. The traditional run play for them. But I was elated seeing this in the game, and not so much that it went to Darnell, but that Stetson just pulled the trigger and put it high, because there's not anyone that's big enough and fast enough. I mean, fast enough, yes, but big enough to match up with him. if you put it up there, where he's reaching up for it, no one's going to get it. Rarely, if ever. They got to be a big-time freak show athlete to be able to jump up and get that from him. And you could tell it was, hey, let's get him the ball. And, just good to see, especially off the play action. Stetson's been sort of big time from a passing grade, all the big plays, a lot of the big plays that have gotten are off play action. Great to see. And again, you got that unicorn moving east, one from Cali, now this one from Nevada.
And I think, too, you'd like to see the check down option for Stetson. It's going to be a quick throw, but that's a lot of space there for James Cook as a little check down option. I think you might see that against Alabama.
Yep, very much so. But one of the things when we look at Georgia's offense versus Alabama's defense, Alabama's linebackers from in coverage are just not good. We've seen Henry To'oTo'o over the past few years at Tennessee just get abused by Georgia, and especially Georgia's running backs in the passing game. And with the running backs as well as Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers across the middle of the field, you can abuse them very much so in the passing game with Christian Harris and To'oTo'o.
Next play, how do you use Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers together? In the previous one, you saw Brock come to block the backside as Darnell releases down the field. Well, how do you do it when they run combination routes?
You pray, and then you watch this guy where at the catch point, there are 5 guys who technically could have touched him in some way, and I don't know that he gets touched. Like he might get like a finger on him, but at the catch point, and you see the angles at the catch point. But what's great is you have and we talked about this on one of the last videos the videos that we did last week. When you have Darnell clearing and then Bowers pushing outside, it makes that corner play with outside leverage, gives the window that you see the throwing lane in for him for the end cut or slant, sort of skinny post, however you want to term it. And yes, is a downhill safety going to be, maybe come and make a big hit? Who knows what? But you've got to respect Bauer's speed. So you're still going to be getting depth as a safety, and then just throw it and then let him go be an athlete. Earlier in the game, he caught it. Those 2 guys converged. I think it was like a 12 or 13-yard gain. This time at the catch point, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then even the backside safety with a little bit of an angle. Ladd does a good job of just getting a piece of somebody, and then he just outruns everybody.
Unicorn, you said it.
Yep.
Find a way to get him the ball. But it's the same with Washington, but they just do different things.
Yep, very much so. And this is the other angle of that, and it's just even more. It's even more fun to watch. Good job putting the ball in it. Good job putting the ball where he could get yards after the catch. It wasn't behind him where he had to slow down at all. It wasn't in front where he had to reach out and maybe hesitate a little bit. But put it right there, right on his face, get it, and just go.
My instant reaction was, how fast is this guy? Because that's the most I've seen him sprint like that.
Here's a prediction I'll make for you. I would bet on College Game Day tomorrow you're going to see the GPS number on that exact play. I would just have a feeling you're going to see that.
You have a feeling, huh?
I have a feeling.
You have a feeling. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic.
And I bet the number's high, by the way.
Yeah, I would think so too. All right. So then what do you do when Georgia puts its 3 tight ends in the field? We've seen this more often. If you go back on this channel and find our George Pickens every snap video against Georgia Tech, you'll see one play where George is on one side of the formation, 3 tight ends are on the other. On the initial frame here that you see, you don't see all the tight ends. Here's Darnell Washington. Here's John Fitzpatrick, and just off the screen here, you'll see him when it goes that way as Brock Bowers.
Yeah, and this is the thing that, again, it makes you unique. No one in college football can do this. And now did Fitzpatrick and Bowers make a perfect block? No, they didn't make a perfect block, but they got in the way. Fitzpatrick owns his guy, owns the edge guy, and he's got the toughest of all the blocks. And that's, it's his role, is go be physical in the run game, catch, hitches and in-cut routes and things like that. And he does it and does it very well. Darnell eats 2 guys because the corner takes a bad angle, and he gets lost behind Darnell. Brock gets enough of a piece of the guy on the second level that he's getting to, and now it's just go to the house. As Coach Donovan would say, show them your taillights.
And this is just fun when you get Broderick Jones out here, be like, "Yeah, this is my time. I'm gonna lay this block." Now, like I said, does he do it perfectly? No, but he's there to slow it down.
Kenny Mack does. I mean, that's a horrible effort, by the way. I got a guy coming on the backside, but still, when you can do that and still, by the way, still be a threat in the passing game, that's what makes it so unique. And I even posed that question. Tug Howard and I talked about it on the podcast and, put it on Twitter, but would you rather have Ohio State's 3 wide receivers or Georgia's 3 tight ends? And for this football team, for Georgia's football team, now I think when in doubt, you take the better players, and all the 3 wide receivers are all first-round picks. And the totality of that, you might take it. But for this team and for Georgia and the way they play and the way they play complementary football with their offense, the 3 tight ends make them so unique.
2 of those tight ends may be first-round picks. They at least have that
potential.
I
think so. Yeah. Yes, very much so. 1 definitely, and 2, and I think Darnell has the potential to be that as well. He's a first-round talent.
Size. Yeah, I mean, because we've said, he could be an extra offensive tackle out there for a lot of formations.
He's Gronk. Bowers is Pitts.
If you're watching us live here on our YouTube channel, here's what I want you to know. We're about to end this broadcast, so it kind of lives on its own as a feature on Georgia's tight ends. We're coming right back, so refresh this page in 3 minutes, and we'll have a breakdown for you of Alabama, specifically for this SEC championship game, and things that can be exploited by Georgia's defense. You don't want to miss that. He's Brent Rollins. I'm Dayne Young. We're with UGAsports.com. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, share it with all the people that you watch football with, or the people we talk about Georgia football with, because that allows us to do more of these kinds of things. And you should be subscribed to this YouTube channel, because the more people that see this, the more that our sponsors like the fact that they can get their names out there, the more content we can deliver for you. And that's what we love to do. Brett, thanks as always. And I'll see you in about 3 minutes.
See you in a minute.
Yeah.